And we start today in Asia. China is flexing its military power once again. Chinese President Xi Jinping said he's ready to use military force to reunite Taiwan if need be. RT's Sarah Montes de Oca joins me. Sarah, what is the latest?
Well, Steve, it looks like a more confident China is threatening to use military force in Taiwan while urging the Taiwanese to accept reunification with China.
We will not rule out the use of force and will reserve all options of necessary measures.
These threats come as Washington and Beijing remain in tense trade talks. Experts are warning that the increase of military presence from both sides in the South China Sea could spark a greater conflict than just trade tariffs between the two superpowers. It looks like both countries are doing just that. The Pentagon is now urging America's Pacific Rim allies to also increase their military presence in the South China Sea to confront China. And Beijing revealed that its top military priority for 2019 includes strengthening training and preparing for war. The Pentagon's Assistant Secretary of Defense for Asian and the Pacific Affairs said that other U.S. allies, including Britain, France, and Canada, have already boosted their military presence in the South China Sea. Most recently, in late December, Chinese Admiral Luo Yuan said that his country's military is capable of sinking 2 American aircraft carriers and killing 10,000 American sailors. Now, the admiral said that what the U.S. fears most is casualties. We'll see how frightened America is. Let's not forget that back in October, Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, the just retired commander of the U.S. Army in Europe, suggested that the conflict between the superpowers would come soon. In a statement, he said, "I think in 15 years, it's not inevitable, but it is a very strong likelihood that we will be at war with China." And Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan told top Pentagon officials to remain focused on ongoing operations, but to remember, China, China, China. Now, this was Shanahan's first meeting after taking over the former Defense Secretary Jim Mattis. So despite the leadership change at the Pentagon, it seems like the U.S. will be sticking to the same strategy, which was written by Mattis and describes China as predatory and a hostile power. Now, the plan states that long-term strategic competitions with China and Russia are the principal priorities for the department and require both increased and sustained investment. Steve, well, at this moment, it's still largely rhetoric. The prospect of these two superpowers at war is an outcome that both militaries appear to actively be preparing for.
Well, that would be a very serious development, obviously. But the United States took some action today, thankfully not militarily, where they issued a warning to American citizens.
That's right. So the U.S. State Department actually issued a level 2 warning for those Americans traveling to China to be cautious, to proceed with increased caution. This because Chinese authorities are capable of preventing them from returning to U.S. citizens, sometimes without cause and sometimes for years. So there is a level 2 warning now.
A warning to be taken seriously. Thank you, Sarah.